in my phone right now is more computing power than was probably in my high school computer lab. You know, we didn't have cell phones when I was a kid. We didn't have laptops even. Okay, we're gonna break for a minute. Now we need to figure out how to get back on task reasonably quickly. That's a life skill that kids need to learn. We're scared to death to take risks. So if I can teach a couple of kids to be more willing to be creative and take some risks, awesome. The 5th hour class is building a business based on trash. I wonder if they're gonna wonder why I'm approving all of these how to open a shaving can videos.
Okay, so why do you teach PBL and EBD?
So why do I teach PBL and EBD?
Because
the biggest reason I'm wanting to teach it is I want to get to something where they can do two things. They can make real world connections. 3 things. Real world connections. 2, get their hands on something. Some kids really learn well that way. The kids who don't learn well that way, that's a chance for them to fail and fail forward. Okay?
What does that mean?
Fail forward. A chance to fail, but see where there's some benefit, learn from something from it, and try again. Which gets to my 3rd piece, which is, and I always forget the word. If you talk to Mr. Kerr, he says it all the time. Iteration. We learn when we have to go back to the drawing board and try it again. Then it becomes a little more real to us. How do we deal with that failing forward? Have to deal with the idea of I failed, but I can try again and I can adapt to it. That's the biggest thing I'm worried about, because let's be 100% honest. The bulk of high school math, a lot of people just don't use. They don't need it in their daily lives. It's a small percentage that actually use that day in, day out. And the ones that do, oftentimes have it in a computer format. But I can teach them skills beyond that. And that's what I'm really trying to do. See connections, see value, learn how to deal with failure, learn how to adapt, redo it, get better at it, and push forward. So if I can do that and still let them explore higher math, then that's what I want to try to do. I had last year someone say, can't we build it out of wood and metal because it'd hold up better? And I'm like, but we wouldn't know how to build it. How much would we waste? Some of the things that you guys see today will be very practical. Some of it may not be, as I tie the math into it. And some of it will be like, I could do that, but with much simpler math. It's still a gateway to the higher math. So that's all I'm trying to do. And then get kids to be somewhat creative, because I don't know what problems they'll face. I mean, I could say, oh, here is this problem right now. Well, someone might solve it within 2 years. You'll have another new set of problems to deal with.
Do they see you as the know-all, be-all?
I think well, I tell you what, do they see teachers as that? Yes. When I say you can do this, it's so easy to say, yeah, but Mr. Buethe, you're a genius. But you can do this. That's the idea. Do they still see the teacher as the gatekeeper of this piece of knowledge? And then they can come up with, as reasons to do it, I'm not smart enough. I won't use it in my daily life. I just don't like it. And that list continues.
But that's why you're using EBD and PBL, because it's more of a practical relationship they can develop.
In some way, shape, or form, some relationship with numbers, with thinking, with logic, with building, with creating. PBL and EBD tries to give you the structure to do those things.
And the technology piece, because you do draw in the technology.
Right.
So you're not eliminating it, because you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, you're on these social medias too, and using them to your advantage and your network, which I'm sure you encourage the students to.
I'm trying to get to that point, and then it's to use technology strategically. Here, there you go. That's called using technology appropriately.
All right.
You know, so there's one.
There's calculator use right over there.
Right now, you're going to see a lot today where it's still very much paper and pencil and working with your hands.
Do you see a value in that as
Yes.
well?
And the great value is when you can tie those two things together.
How is your product going to make organization better or make the shop run better?
So they don't have like if they don't, so they don't have to just throw a login like in a bag, tag, they can just shove it in there, like put it in their side pouch, and
Okay.
just like it'd be all like right there.
All right. Again,
Plus, you could also just use like if you like there's some other stuff in there you can do. It doesn't have to be just chew. You can put whatever you want.
What do you do when a PBL project or an engineering design project doesn't go as well as you would hope? You have to trust the teacher. It's not going to go 100% right 100% of the time. And you know what though? Neither did traditional teaching. It didn't. It looked good. It looked compliant. It probably got them through a test. Did it really truly develop the skill? And that's where having been quote unquote real world before this made me realize that we didn't always develop the skill. That's why I was like, I've got to start adjusting and changing stuff a little bit. Are there things that I may not get covered? Yep, there's things I may not get covered. You know what? When I taught traditionally, there were things I didn't get covered. So what am I out? I mean, we always worry because these are our kids. We love our kids. I don't want them to be short something that would leave them as to be not successful in their future, but we can't predict it. I don't exactly know what this kid needs. I don't want to leave him short of something, but I want to be able to teach them that they can use.
So how do you gauge their proficiency?
That's the question. I don't have that piece 100% figured out yet. I can see it. I can see when a kid has some skills to work together in a group. I can see when a kid can push through and do something. I can see when I've taught something very traditionally when they can do it on a test, but all I've measured is that they can do it on that test. That is tough. How do we actually measure proficiency and success? When I answer it, I'll give you the answer.
You're freaking out over this, aren't you, Jay? You're a bit.
I think it's hilarious.
You think it's hilarious? They can edit a lot of this stuff.
So why teach?
The biggest reason, first of all, very, very little is impossible for most people. Most people, even if you think you can do it, if someone can give you guidance, let you have productive struggle with it, can learn an awful lot of stuff, can become possible for a lot of people nowadays. And that's why I teach. I want these kids who struggle to realize they can do it. I want the kid who doesn't struggle, I want to make you struggle now. Because I would much rather you learn to struggle now than you get to 25 and you don't know how to adult. I want to give you that struggle now. And I also want you to learn one other thing. And this doesn't show up as much. I don't know if the kids realize it shows up so much in PBL type stuff. It shows up even in basic math. There's more than one right way to do things.
But in our textbooks that you and I learned from, you learned one basic way to solve an equation.
And now we have ones that show multiple and people rebel against that. I think it's natural. I think it's like, I know how to do it this way, why learn a different way? We all need to learn that. It's really, really hard to teach that to kids. It's extremely hard to teach that to adults because their parents are like, this is different than the way I learned it in school. Number one, we probably don't remember everything we learned in school. We probably were taught some of those methods. But there's value to seeing other methods, other structures. And maybe that other structure helps us see a bigger picture.